ownership, management, or advertisers of this station. Save space. Community. Conversation. Connection. Save space. With your host, Sincerely Sarita. Right now on WURD Radio. 96.1 FM. And 900 AM WURD. Independent Black Media.
On nights like this I ride. Turn the music up to keep from crying. Wait till that sunshine. Please don't let the darkness keep me low halfway to the home base, yeah. Like a field trip, whoa. It's a real trip. And over your head, it's a guilt trip, yeah. To the south side, wow. It's a real trip. It's not a quick trip. It stays with ya. Love taxes, it's a real trip. On nights like this I ride. Turn the music up to keep from crying. Wait till the sunshine. Please don't let the darkness keep me low halfway to the home base, yeah. Like a field trip, whoa. It's a real trip. I'm asking who can save me? You can't bait me. You can't bait me. Who can save me? Know that you can't bait me.
Hello, loves. You are tuned in to WURD Radio's brand new show. I'm still going to say it until we get settled in. Save Space, and I am your host, Sincerely Sarita. Today is Monday, October 26th. It's a perfect day to turn our intentions into action through conversation. Shout out to all the folks who are ready to do just that. Those of you who are tuned in on 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming WURD TV on WURDradio.com, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitch, and of course everyone who's listening in crystal clear on the free WURD app, which is available in the Apple app and Google Play stores. If you're tuned in to WURD TV via Facebook Live, you already know the deal. Tap the share button, start a watch party. We are not just here to save space. We are totally okay with taking up and owning some too. Okay? I'm going to say that again. We're not just here to save space. We're totally okay with taking up and owning some of that space too, especially in these internet streets, y'all. And speaking of the internet streets, you might catch me in them. I want to shout out moveon.org. They had reached out to me some time back, and we partnered together on a few campaigns and voting campaigns, right? And they have this new campaign that's called Your Vote is Your Power. And I had the opportunity through participating in that campaign to pen an op-ed, to work with their team on an op-ed. And so it dropped today, and I will make sure I drop that link in the Facebook Live stream so you all can access it there if you want to check it out and share it. But if you just head on to moveon.org, you can head over there, and they have like this op-ed section where you can see it. But I'm bringing that up because in thinking about the op-ed, I was trying to figure out what part of my existence and identity I really wanted to kind of zero in on, in my experience that I really wanted to zero in on. And for just a few different reasons, I was taken back to a moment in college where my daughter, who was probably like barely 2 years old, and I believe I've shared this story before, was in the car with me when I got pulled over by the Philadelphia Police Department. And it was a very traumatic experience. And anyone who's responsible for someone else's life, whether that's caring for them, raising them, whatever it may be, whenever you are, God forbid, but if you've ever, found yourself in a position where what you say or do can literally potentially change the course of action in your lives, right? Especially when it comes to that being, you know, the result of or tied to violence, specifically, you know, gun violence. So it was a very traumatic experience, one that has stuck with me, clearly. And so in this op-ed, I talk about that experience, about getting pulled over, guns surrounding, you know, guns drawn with law enforcement surrounding the car, with my daughter in the car, and just, you know, trying to, as a citizen, de-escalate the situation while also grappling with these different feelings of like, you know, being violated or disregarded, or just not even treated with a bare level minimum of respect. A conversation at first to just figure some things out. And it's out, and I'm reading it, and even in reading it, I just so happened to be reviewing it, and I had Nick's show on. And shout out to Reverend Mark Tyler. Much love to him for the work that the tireless work that he does in our community. But they were speaking about the shooting that just took place between law enforcement and a young man who, at this point, we're learning, was reportedly possessing a knife. And their reports are still coming in, but there appears that his mother was on the scene and was really trying to, or hopefully looking to, de-escalate the situation, and it didn't end well for her son. A law enforcement opened up fire, and that young man is now deceased. And so in reading this op-ed and processing that situation, I wasn't sure at first if, like I said, what I needed to focus on with this op-ed, but this was just a moment where it just felt like that I wrote about exactly what needed to be shared. And my heart truly goes out to that young man's family, to our community. What we have now is the requirement that we save space for justice, for healing, and for truly turning pain into power, right? And knowing that there are still developments that are to come, investigations that I'm sure that is going to be done, but it doesn't change the fact that a life was taken. A member of our community is gone, and we're literally at a point in history where voting where the entire situation is set, and the question is being asked, what do you want, and who is going to bring you closer to what you want for your community, for your family, for your life, for your future. And that's not something I think to be, you know, any of us can afford to take lightly. And so, yeah, I am very thankful that I had the opportunity to pen that op-ed, which is available over on MoveOn.org, because it's so crazy how I wrote about that experience and how it impacted me, and how no one should have to live like that, right? My daughter shouldn't have to live with that. The Black community shouldn't have to live with this. Like, the American people shouldn't have to live like this. And so what are we going to do about it? How are we going to make sure that the necessary changes that needs to happen, which, you know, Obama shared in his speech here at the drive-in rally, that the system is designed for change to happen slow. Well, what needs to change right now? What can we do right now? And if you find yourself asking that question, please know that creating a plan to vote and actually following through on it, that's something you can do right now. That's like right now. I know there's a video floating around of that encounter with the young man and the police. Check in on the folks, especially the young folks that you know are active on social media, because something we can do right now is check in on our kids who are continuously exposed to this kind of trauma porn. because it gets reposted over and over and over and over again. And that stuff does take a toll, not only on those who are consuming it, but on the families that are affected by it. So let us be mindful in that. So much to unpack, and so much going on in the world, right? And this show is called Save Space, SAVE, and it's meant to be a reminder and a call to action for us to reflect, to connect, to process all the things like this that are happening in the world. And in addition to this, right, y'all know I keep a whole list ready of what we have going on in the world, and then what we also have going on in the world, looking through a more positive lens. But I want to make sure we save space for you all to be able to call in and speak to any aspect of this particular incident, tragic incident with this young man dying today, or any other things that are on your mind, your spirit at the top of this week. Let's do that check-in. So you can call in 215-634-8065. Again, 215-634-8065. You can also call in toll-free, 866-361-0900. Again, 866-361-0900. Let's go to George on line 1. Hey, George, thank you for calling in and choosing to save space with us today. What's on your mind?
It's amazing, and I'm glad that, I'm not saying that what all fell out, I'm glad it happened around the hours of what you're on. It's sad they're making excuses already. Like, those cops was dead wrong. Dead wrong. If you look at the film, it's dead wrong. I mean, you got tasers, there's two of you. Then they started running. Like, what are we hiring? What are we paying these cops for? I mean, tell me, a guy that's walking that slow, he had a knife. Apparently he wasn't all together there. But one good thing is about it, Philadelphia's not going to end up like the rest of the country. Where they had these DAs doing all this stupid stuff, grand juries. Larry's words is always, they don't have to cross the line, just come up to the line. Whatever those cops going to get, it's going to be fair, but they're going to get it. Believe me. I mean, we ain't going to have no rioting. We ain't going to have none of that, this rest, that foolishness. They're going to get what they're supposed to get. That was outright, purposely, intentionally a homicide. There's no other way to put it, because they didn't have to shoot that guy. They didn't have to do it. They just did it because either one, they were scared, panicked. But McNesby's going to do his job, which is he's their union rep. He's going to do everything he can to get them off. And you're going to have the public kissing up these public officials. Everybody's trying to make excuses already.
Gotcha.
It's crazy.
Gotcha. I appreciate that.
What you make?
Appreciate you, George, for calling in on that. And let me just make clear, this is day one. This is day one in terms of this case. And we pay a lot of attention, as we should, to any kind of police-involved shooting that involves Black lives, right, for sure. But that also brings into question the level of integrity, of morality, so on and so forth, and then just policies, right, protocols that are not being followed. We see those cases, and we know there are more than what we see that pop up across the country, right? And we talk about it here on air and in our homes and in our, amongst our friend circles and chat groups and all of this kind of stuff. Well, this right now that is unfolding is right here in Philly. And so the best thing that we can all do in this moment is to be as informed as possible. And so that definitely means making sure that you're following credible news sources that are keeping up with the case. That also means making sure that you are, even on social, following credible folks who can actually give you details or sharing details. And by that, I mean, if there are journalists or reporters that you come to find out that are working the cases, follow them. Follow them, connect with them on social so that you can get any of the latest updates that they may have. This is a really good time to be informed so that as this case continues to unfold, because we don't know, and the best thing we can do is to make sure we keep our expectations in check, but that also we keep our eye on justice being properly served, right? No matter what. In this case, in any case, that justice is served. So please make sure. Let us all make sure we're doing our due diligence to get the information and to follow the credible sources and those who are going to be covering this. And I'm sure this will definitely, this is not the last that we'll hear about this case, but that we're holding folks accountable as well. You know, those media outlets that you maybe don't see discussing this, but you know it is a concern to you and those in your community and our community. Let's make sure we're calling in, catching them up, or reaching out to them on social media, emailing, to make sure that we are applying the pressure to get the information for them to do their job too, and to do it with integrity, right? But anyhow, got to take a quick break. When we come back on the other side, I'll take any additional calls. So 215-634-8065 and toll free 866-361-0900. I'll also let you know who and what we are saving space for today. And, you know, some of the what we have and what we have, all right, get you a little bit caught up on some of the latest news and headlines and that kind of stuff. So you are tuned in to Safe Space. I'm your host, Sincerely Sarita. It is 7:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we're taking that break. Be back.
If you're thinking of voting by mail this election, remember that it's safe, it's secure, and it counts. But there are a few things to keep in mind. While the application deadline is October 27th, you should apply now and send your ballot back as early as possible, before November 3rd. When it comes to sending it back, you can drop it in the mail, use a designated drop box, or return it to a satellite election office. To find one or for more information, visit PhiladelphiaVotes.com.
Dietz & Watson has been making premium meats and artisan cheeses for over 80 years. And when it comes to stacking sandwiches and party platters, they've got something for everyone in the family, like maple honey turkey breast, American cheese, buffalo chicken, and more. So get to your local deli and taste 4 generations of family recipes. With Dietz & Watson on the table, you'll have everyone coming back for seconds and thirds. Dietz & Watson, it's a family thing since 1939.
He's back.
This is Reverend Al Sharpton.
Keeping it real
With the Reverend Al Sharpton.
In times like these, we have to stay connected.
At a brand new time.
Monday through Thursday, 9 p.m. till midnight.
I'm excited that Keeping It Real returns to WURD.
Keeping it real.
With the Reverend Al Sharpton.
Monday through Thursday, 9 p.m. till midnight.
This program is pre-recorded.
No phone calls, please.
Keep it locked to WURD 96.1 FM, 900 AM. WURDradio.com.
Hey, Mama, you calling me for a change? You and Daddy all right?
We're fine. Can't your mama call and check on her babies and get a little advice?
You know you can. What do you need help with?
Well, despite COVID-19, you know I'm not letting anything stop your father and I from voting this year. But we're here in Pennsylvania. Should we go to our precinct as usual? What's the best way?
You mean I get to be Mama for a minute? All you have to do is go to aarp.org/election2020.
That's my favorite site, and they have a lot of information about the pandemic.
You only text me the website 3 times, but they have all the reliable, up-to-date voting information for voters 50 plus in every state. Want me to text it to you?
Girl, I know. It's aarp.org/election2020.
Well, me being your mama didn't last long.
That's 'cause I'll always be your mama.
Yes, ma'am.
Keeping you informed. As a community service, WURD Radio and the Black Doctors COVID-19 Consortium wants to keep you informed about where you can get no-cost, barrier-free COVID-19 testing this week. Tuesday, October 27th from 4 p.m. till 7 p.m. at Northeast Baptist Church, 4744 Tackawanna Street. Thursday, October 29th from 3 p.m. till 7 p.m. at Enon Tabernacle Baptist Church East, 2800 West Cheltenham Avenue. And Saturday, October 31st from 10 a.m. till 3 p.m. at Hartranft Playground Alliance, 800 West Cumberland Street. Stay informed and stay well with WURD Radio.
96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Save Space with Sincerely Sarita.
Sincerely Sarita.
Right now on WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Independent Black Media.
One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I just wanna live. God protect me. I'm a young black man, doing all that I can to stand. Oh, but when I look around and I see what's being done to my kind, every day I'm being hung to this grave. My people don't want no trouble. We've had enough struggle. I just wanna live. God protect me. I just wanna live. God protect me. So many thoughts in my head. Will I live or will I end up dead? Isn't I need for sequel? No matter where I be, there's no place safe for me. Oh, I'm not asking for too much. So Lord, please help. I just wanna live. God protect me. I just wanna live. God protect me. This is my battle cry. I just wanna live. God protect me. I just wanna live. God protect me. I just wanna live.
You are back listening to Safe Space. I'm your host, Sincerely Sarita. It is 27 after the hour, and happy Monday. Happy Monday to you. I want to know, what are you saving space for this week in your schedule? Like it's Monday. Let's look at the week ahead. Definitely want to know who or what are you saving space for this week in your schedule. Call in. Let me know your thoughts. 215-634-8065. Again, 215-634-8065. Toll free 866-361-0900. Again, 866-361-0900. Shout out to Arisha over on Facebook. She said she's saving space for hot yoga. That is what she is saving space for this week. Listen, y'all, I want to try it. I just don't want to sweat to that degree. I don't want to be that hot. And I'm someone who loves like being warm and cozy. I turn the heat up in the car. There's no like low or high, like, or in between. It's just either it's on or it's not. And it's high. So I love feeling and being warm, but hot yoga I feel like is just next level. I'm gonna try it one day, but I have not, and I'm still resolving within myself how I will move from here to there to trying it. But anyhow, call in, let me know who or what you're saving space for today. But let's go to the phone lines. Shout out to Miss Rosalind. She's been waiting patiently on line 2. Hey, Miss Rosalind, thank you for joining us and saving space with us. What's on your mind?
Yes, praise the Lord, WR family, you, K to J.
I am.
My heart goes out to the mother and family. I have young men and great young men in my life. I can't even imagine how that would happen in front of my eyes. As far as the Lord is concerned, we must educate our children at a young age so this don't occur again. If it's a mental, physical, or whatever reason that they fired on a young man. My grandson, Carnez Boone, was thrown in the lake in Yes Academy. My daughter shut it down. But as far as law, and they were the law enforcement taking care of these innocent children. And they have been dying all along. So for our family, for his family and the mother, any mother or father out there to see this, educate them while they're young. So they know whether it's psychological, physical, or whatever.
Got you. Appreciate you, Ms. Rosalind, and it sounds like very clearly, just filled with emotion, and that's a natural reaction, right? When something like this unfortunately happens, and I agree in that it's important to, unfortunately, have to educate the next generation, right, or sometimes even the current generation, your peers, with how to best interact in these moments. I think that is important. I think what we're also seeing and what's already been proven is that it's not just about us educating our own, right? It's about law enforcement, right? The policies, the training, the need for changes, systemic changes, that I would put at top priority. Top priority. That like this, all of this comes with the job. And if it's a matter of systemic racism and bias, etc., that already exists, and in addition to that, we see gaps in training or just blatant intentional disregard for the protocols on place, like on record or on the books. This is also there's also accountability to be had on that end. And as we prepare, so many of us have already hit the polls. This is what we go, one of the things that we can go to the polls in mind, like having in mind is the folks that I'm voting for, who are tied to the decisions that get made, who are tied to the policies and procedures and whatever else the case may be. That's who I need to make sure my vote is behind. The folks who play a role in that and are willing to do that role and to first serve their constituents, the folks who put them in office, knowing our needs, being aware of it, and prioritizing them to make sure that there's real reform and change. But listen, I got to get ready to welcome my first guest who has been patiently waiting. Her name is Dominique London. And, when we're thinking about safe space, what I love about that name and the whole concept is that it applies in any and every area of life. It's just as literal as it is abstract or theoretical. And for that, there are so many different places that we're able to go in the show, because in any of these areas of life, there's always a priority or an opportunity to save space. My next guest, her story exemplifies that in the literal sense and beyond it. We're talking about saving space literally like homes, housing security, right? That kind of thing. But then also saving space within yourself for the fight for change, for the fight for progress. So Dominique London, thank you so much for choosing to save space with us today. How are you doing, love?
Peace, Arita. I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me on the show tonight. I'm really glad to be talking with you.
Listen, we've been working hard, right, to get you on air, and there's been so much going on with the election. So I'm happy that it's happening, and we get to have you on and to talk a bit. So let's do that. Tell folks a little bit about who you are, and what you do, and what brings you here today.
Sure. So my name is Dominique London. I am originally from Philadelphia, Southwest originally. Moved to Winfield when I was about 8 years old. Went to school, graduated from Rosemont College, went to school at University of Hawaii at Manoa. Just recently got my master's from Temple, TU. in city and regional planning. And I kind of took a liking to disaster mitigation and emergency management. About 4 years ago, I co-founded the Black and Brown Workers Cooperative with who I call my siblings, Shani, Akila, and Abdul Ali Muhammad. And since then, we've had other members. We've grown exponentially. And so I've just always kind of been just like a global citizen traveling here and there. But since I have been back in the States, I took a year and a half and I taught overseas in South Korea. But once I came back, I started really getting politicized and began organizing with my comrades from BBWC around labor organizing. And as I got more deep into labor organizing, I realized that the same people who don't really have a lot of power or decision-making in their workplace don't have power or decision-making power in their homes or like their neighborhoods, their hoods where they live. And that was me included, and it was problematic. So in 16, time is really weird, right? Time has been really weird. I'm like, when did that happen? Was that all this year? Oh, my God.
Feels like it.
2016, I want to say myself and about 250 other residents, we were living in Winfield and Bremar Avenue to be exact, in this high-rise, this 18-story high-rise called the Penguin House at the time. And we had gone through about 2 different management changes, and the last developer who bought the property was called Cross Property Management. They brought the property and issued out notice saying that, they're going to remodel the place, they're going to add all these new additions. And then later they said, everybody's getting out and you got 60 days to do it. So they evicted us. And through that process, a lot of my elders that watched me grow up died in the process. A lot of people actually didn't make it out the building. They died. Other people were homeless, are still homeless, living in shelters. Others had to move in less than desirable neighborhoods. Some people bounced back. And some people, you have no idea where they are. No idea where they are. Wow. Out of the county, maybe. So, yeah.
So let's talk a bit about what transpired after you all get this notice that you have 60 days to get out, essentially. What did that set off in you? Especially given that you were increasingly moving towards, being an organizer, a community organizer, and more.
Right. So it's interesting because when you're able to organize, right, when you can concentrate, when you have stable housing, when you have food to eat, and you're safe, you're able to politicize yourself and organize. When you don't have those things, you are less likely to organize because you are thinking about how you're going to survive. So that's what happened to me. I wasn't thinking about organizing at the moment. I had myself, and I still had my mom. I had a lot of family members that lived in that building, my mother included. And I had to think about, where am I going to move that's safe and I can actually afford it? Where is my mom going to move that's safe and she can afford it? And so I'll say for the first couple of months, that's all that myself and everybody talked about. You would run into people in the hallway or in the lobby or in the elevator, and they would, hey, did you find anything? What areas are you looking at? And it just was really sad to learn that even at the end, a lot of people didn't find anything. So once my mom and myself found somewhere to live, she stayed in the Winfield area, and I had to move to Southwest, which is, a little farther than what I would like, being away from my mom.
Yeah.
And that was the year that she retired. And so it just was it made me angry, dang, she just retired and now she has to, move out of this apartment, and we've been there 28 years.
Wow.
And my family actually managed that building. We had family members that worked there. A lot of family members that just died in that building. It was a community. It wasn't just a building that we lived in. It was home for so many of us.
Yeah.
But after I was settled and my mom was settled, I started interviewing people that I could find and just asking them, how has it been for you? Just trying to figure out psychologically, what does displacement do to a person? And not displacement from a hurricane or natural disaster.
Yeah.
But we don't talk about being displaced, what the psychological impacts are when it's via gentrification.
I want to pin that right there because we have to take a quick break. But when we come back on the other side, let's dive a bit deeper into that, right? Because your conversations, these interviews that you started conducting to really get an idea of, how displacement as a result of gentrification, how that impacts someone's psyche. But that ended up also leading to some positive change for renters, Philadelphians who rent. And so I want to make sure we also let folks know ultimately the solution or at least some aspect of a solution moving in a more desirable direction that this led to. And hopefully folks can, gain some inspiration and think about action steps that they can take should they, God forbid, find themselves in similar situations, or at bare minimum, just know what's available, what resources are out there and available to them. So Love's phone lines are open. You can join the conversation, 215-634-8065, toll free 866-361-0900. You can also drop your thoughts, responses, comments in the live stream we have going on over on Facebook. We are at onWURD. Make sure you follow us. But yeah, I'm chatting with Dominique London, and we're getting into gentrification, right, in terms of saving space and looking at the displacement, firsthand experience of displacement that Dominique is sharing, and how she took that experience and did what she could to help make things a bit better for renters here in Philadelphia. You're listening to Safe Space. I'm your host, Sincerely Sarita. It's 42 after the hour, and we'll be back after these messages.
Hi, I'm Kiera Bradford Gray, the Chief Defender of the Defender Association of Philadelphia. I've spent my career helping to reform our criminal justice system by advancing client-centered representation that empowers our communities to be stronger and safer. Our communities are still over-policed and under-resourced. This year, accountability is on the ballot, and we can finally have the community police oversight that we desperately need.
Paid for by Black Vote PA, which is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.theelectionisnow.com.
Hello? Hey, you've been on my mind, so I'm just calling to check in.
Oh, we're holding up well here in Pennsylvania. Just trying to stay safe and figuring out if we should vote in person or by mail. We like going to the polls.
Yeah, you never miss an election.
And we're not missing this year either, and neither should you. But which way is the safest?
Well, remember that valuable information you got from AARP about COVID-19? Mom even had me read it.
Yeah, that was good info.
AARP has up-to-date voting information for 50-plus voters in every state. It's right there at aarp.org/election2020.
Oh, I got it. aarp.org/election 2020. I love having the answers before your mama.
Pops, you know what happens when you try to show out.
Yeah, you probably right about that.
This year's been tough, but it's given me a lot of time to learn new skills through the internet.
I've been joining more classes during lockdown.
I'm doing an internship.
I taught myself how to play guitar.
So when people ask,
will I be able to learn online?
I feel like I'm ready.
Internet Essentials from Comcast has connected millions of families from low-income homes to the internet. So no matter what back to school looks like, students can be ready for anything. Learn more at comcast.com/Internet Essentials.
Pico has many ways to help you lower your energy usage and save money at home. Here's one. If your heating and cooling system is more than 20 years old, it may be time for your contractor to replace it with a high-efficiency Energy Star certified model. You'll get a rebate from Pico and save on your monthly electric bill. You'll find a list of new heating and cooling system rebates at pico.com/rebates. Or you can call 1-888-5-PICO-SAVE for all the details. Plus, find instant discounts on smart thermostats and more at pico.com/marketplace. There's free shipping on orders over $49.
As a business owner, hiring and developing people from the community that your company serves is one of the best ways to show commitment to that community. Let WURD Radio help with Livelihood, our new initiative that connects Philadelphians with companies like yours. We'll feature your business, open employment opportunities, and resources to connect your company with talent and ensure that you reach your target demographic. To learn more about how Livelihood can help you build your team, visit wordworks.com. That's WURDworks.com. Livelihood is supported by the Nightland Fest's Local News Transformation Fund, Borealis Philanthropies Racial Equity and Journalism Fund, and the Solutions Journalism Network. Save Space with Sincerely Sarita.
Sincerely Sarita.
Right now on WURD Radio. 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Independent Black Media.
You are back listening to Save Space. I'm your host, Sincerely Sarita, and we are chatting with Dominique London, who co-founded the Black and Brown Workers Cooperative, and she's sharing a bit about displacement by way of gentrification, the impacts, at least from firsthand experience, that she's seen, noted, and how she took her displacement, and on all of the emotions that come with it, and really funneled it towards some real change. So Dominique, again, thank you for joining us. And let's jump back in. We put a pin in the conversation right around, the psychological effects of displacement as a result of gentrification. And so you actually started to interview folks from the building, from the buildings community, about, how this affected them. What were some of the responses that you received? And at what point did you realize, okay, we gotta take this to the next level, and that meaning like City Hall?
Right. So a lot of the responses, so what's interesting is that I didn't even realize that I was having, I was being impacted psychologically. I'm running around with my little laptop and my microphone, and I'm interviewing folks, and I'm just like, yeah, this is, acting as if I'm outside of the experience. A lot of things impact people at different times and differently. And so some of the responses that I got, of course, a lot of folks were depressed. A lot of folks expressed they were lonely. A lot of people were still kind of in survival mode and couldn't quite name what they were experiencing. A lot of people just really angry that they were pushed out and basically herded into a community that they didn't know anybody. A lot of folks that lived in that building were disabled. A lot of veterans lived there, and it was easy for any of us, the younger folks, to like, hey, Mr. Charles, can I go to the store for you really quick and need me to pick up, a prescription for you? It just went without saying. You take care of the folks around you. And unfortunately, sometimes in Philadelphia streets, those same people become targets. And so they express just anger and sadness, not even feeling safe doing day-to-day stuff. And that was really hard to hear, but I think for myself, it happened once I started to see two things happen. I started to see a lot of construction where I currently live, and I also would get these flyers. I would see these flyers around from developers saying, hey, this is Tom. I'm building my portfolio. I have a few houses in the area. Give me a call if you're interested. And these would be on the doorsteps of, like, elders that live in King Sessing. And I was just like, this is not cool. This is not cool at all. And so it got me angry. And that's usually the place where I operate from most successfully. When I'm angry, I'm like, ooh, now I can
pissed.
do stuff.
It's activation.
I get a lot done when I'm angry, so I appreciate that emotion a lot. But what ended up happening directly after is a lot of the tenants started to work with the Philadelphia Tenants Union, and I'm really, really grateful for them because they came and not just handed out flyers, but a lot of individuals came and moved some of the elders free of charge, rented a truck, got people's belongings out day after day without complaint, and just helped people move. And from that collaboration, I remember one of the first meetings I was invited to with Philadelphia Tenants Union and Ms. Karen Harvey, who was also a former tenant, and we sat down with Councilman Curtis Jones about Just Cause. This was the early stages of the Just Cause legislation, and then that ended up passing, as well as Right to Counsel, which I'm pretty sure it was Rashida Phillips who wrote that and led that amazing black woman lawyer. And so that passed. That was just the tip of the iceberg. It's not perfect legislation, but it was a start after Penguin.
And I want to make sure folks understand, like, the legislation, because I know you played a part in advocating for a resolution that was adopted by City Council urging the first judicial district to seal evictions. Yeah. And that's in addition to you leading protests, and I hear dropping a gentrifiers banner from Penguin, and like really making sure folks knew what was up. So we're getting low on time, but can you speak to that resolution and why it was important for, at least to you, for evictions to be sealed?
Right. Really simple. After people were evicted, they started, of course, trying to get other places to live, and they couldn't because they realized they had evictions on their record. And then one person turned into 5, turned into 20, turned into 88. And I received a link from my good friend who's also a BBWC member and studying law, Sterling Johnson, who is amazing, who also helped me write this legislation, sent me this information and said, hey, did you know all these people have evictions on their record? And I was like, that's why people aren't able to find places to live. And the crazy thing is, it wasn't necessarily that they weren't paying their rent. A lot of them got pulled into tenant court because there was an issue with Penguin where someone was stealing. And if you couldn't produce your records, then they just basically said, well, you don't have a receipt, you didn't pay. And, they got evictions on their record, myself included. A lot of folks. And so this legislation was important because I'm like, if you have this smear on your record, how are you ever supposed to find a safe place to live?
Mm.
And then put that with COVID-19 in these mass evictions, more than ever, people are going to need this protection. So it was really important that, we wrote this in January, and we weren't able to push it through until 2 weeks ago because the council president wouldn't allow any legislation to pass that wasn't COVID-related. And so we had to wait, and I patiently waited, and I brought it to the attention of all the council people. I sat down with Councilman Thomas, and he was like, this is great. I'm all ears, and he introduced it for us, and it got adopted. So
wow,
here we are, and we're going to take it to the state.
Awesome. Salute to you all for that work, because I can't imagine how many families and individuals this is going to impact. And just as you spoke to, ensure that they can receive fair access to great housing, and to safe housing and communities and living spaces. So shout out to you for doing that work, finding it within your anger to save some space for action, for positive, action that does more than just, take care of just you or your family, but thinking about the bigger picture and the larger community at hand. So salute to you all. And I know this has led to, as we get ready to have to let you go, I know this has led to other work around buses or a bus. And
My tiny house.
Your tiny, and I was about to say, it's along that same wave of tiny houses. So really quickly, like probably in a minute, can you let folks know what you have going on and how they can get in touch with you to stay updated on your version of a tiny house?
Yeah, so all things bus related, you can follow me at Miss London 247 on Instagram. That's MS London 247 on Instagram. About a year ago, I saved my grandmother's land the day before the sheriff's sale, and I am building a tiny house on it that is basically a school bus. I'm going to travel around the world. I'm going to get free. I'm going to have some Black joy. I'm going to grow vegetables. I'm going to feed folks, and it's just going to be a space where people can connect.
Got you. All right, so now you loves know how you can connect with Dominique London over on Instagram. Again, that's at Miss MSLONDON 24/7, like Miss London 24/7, honey.
All
okay. And about this saving space movement, whether it's saving space by living in a bus, turning a bus into a home, or making sure that there's space being saved for those who have been displaced by gentrification and then some. So, again, Dominique, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
All right, loves. Taking this quick break. I'm your host, Sincerely Sarita. Make sure you head over to WURDradio.com if you haven't already to start or renew your WURD membership. That support that you all give us, it enables us to amplify stories like this that are solutions focused, but that are definitely, realistically looking at the problems that affect the issues and problems that affect our community and highlight what folks are doing with the power that they have. Right. So we appreciate you, and shout out to all of our WURD members. But let's take this break. It's 57 after the hour. I'm your host, Sincerely Sarita. We'll be back after these messages.
Millennials are known for many things, but did you know that they are currently on track to have worse mental and physical health than the generations that came before them? The Economy League of Greater Philadelphia is challenging our communities to change that with the Well City Challenge. This community-led competition puts the power in your hands to help shape how we address major health challenges across our region, with an emphasis on inclusion and collaboration. So if you care about the health of your community, bring them innovative ideas they need to turn this challenge into opportunities for the millennial generation. Visit economyleague.org to apply today for a chance to compete for $100,000 in prizes and investments. The Well City Challenge is presented by Independence Blue Cross. What's up, everyone? I know you know the word, no, not the station, but this word, J-O-B that is, and our friends at Amoroso's Baking Company are hiring right now. Amoroso's has been baking the delicious bread in our community for over 100 years, and they want you to join their team today. The old and the young love Amoroso's, and they are hiring right now. Check it out. They offer fair pay and provide health, dental, and prescription plans after 90 days employment. Call 856-754-0355 or visit amorososbaking.com for details.
Monday through Thursday, keep it locked to WURD Radio. At 6 a.m., start your day with the Power Hour, hosted by Bishop Dwayne Royster and Reverend Mark Kelly Tyler. At 7, it's Wake Up with WURD with Solomon Jones. At 10 a.m., it's Reality Check with Charles Ellison. Then at 1 p.m., it's The Source, hosted by Andrea Lawful Sanders on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, and the Black Women's Leadership Council on Wednesdays. At 4 p.m., it's Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro. Then at 7, it's Save Space with Sincerely Sarita. At 9 p.m., round up your day with Keeping It Real with the Reverend Al Sharpton. Keep your dial locked to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app. Or watch live on WURD TV via Facebook and YouTube. WURD Radio. Independent Black Media.
If you're thinking of voting by mail this election, remember that it's safe, it's secure, and it counts. But there are a few things to keep in mind. While the application deadline is October 27th, you should apply now and send your ballot back as early as possible, before November 3rd. When it comes to sending it back, you can drop it in the mail, use a designated drop box, or return it to a satellite election office. To find one or for more information, visit PhiladelphiaVotes.com.
WURD Radio presents the following information to help you navigate the upcoming election.
This is Charles Ellison, host of Reality Check on WURD. More than 2/3 of all poll workers are 61 years of age or older. That's created a serious poll worker shortage, as older poll workers are understandably nervous about health risks during pandemic. If you or someone you know under the age of 40 is looking for part-time work and is interested in contributing to their community, sign up to be a poll worker today. In Pennsylvania, go to votespa.com, click on Be a Poll Worker, and complete an application. Keep following us at onWURD on Twitter, facebook.com/forward, and hashtag WordOnPolitics for constant updates on election 2020. And remember, vote early.
Stay informed and vote. For more from Charles Ellison, tune in Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. or visit WURDradio.com. Lifting every voice till earth and heaven ring. This is WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Black Talk Media. Grab your mic. It's time for Kayla J's Karaoke Song of the Day.
I would like to get to know if I could be
Save Space with Sincerely Sarita.
Sincerely Sarita.
Right now on WURD Radio. 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Independent Black Media.
Need money. Talking about money, money, money. We need some money. We need the moolah, y'all.
That's right, y'all. Got to get money. You're back listening to Save Space. I'm your host, Sincerely Sarita. Shout out to Kayla J holding down the phone lines, the board, and everything in between. I don't know about y'all, but I was definitely singing on that KJ karaoke. She brought the brandy with it. You gotta hit the shoulders with that, John. You know, the strong shoulders, the bounce. Anywho, it's time for us to welcome the one and only Joanna Jane, who is back joining us for Coins and Conversation. You already know every Monday at 8 p.m. This is where you can find Joanna Jane right here on WURD Radio. And today she brought a friend, a man that I greatly respect and admire the work that he does in and beyond the community, Dominique Landry of Common Ground Management. Joanna and I, actually started discussing the bones of business, right, back in our happy hour days. And today, I think this conversation is really kind of going to tie right into some of the things that you all may have heard us discuss in that special series, The Bones of the Business. So get ready if you are an aspiring entrepreneur, a current entrepreneur looking to, just solidify, clean up. 2020 has given pretty good time, quality time for you to reflect, reassess, re-examine all of those things. And if 2020 wasn't enough, then you had Mercury retrograde. That also offered an opportunity to rewind and make sure you dot your I's and cross your T's and all that good stuff. Anywho, with that said, let's welcome Joanna Jane and Dominique Landry. Hello to you both, and thank you so much for joining us and choosing a safe space today. How y'all doing? Oh, someone's ringing. Is that Dom coming in? There we go.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, right. There we go. I can hear you very well, both of you all. So, Joanna, of course, welcome back to Safe Space. Dom, welcome to Safe Space. This is your first time on this show.
Yeah, what's up? What's up? It's Rita, man. I feel like I ain't seen you since
forever.
Yeah,
at this point. But listen, so Dom, really quick, let folks know a little bit about who you are and what you do, and then Joanna, let's go ahead and we'll jump in.
Okay, cool, thanks.
Yeah, my name is Dominique Landry from Common Ground Management. We're a Philadelphia-based management company, management consultation firm. We'll be 9 in November.
Wow.
And it's been a crazy decade, but throughout that time, we've been helping businesses across the United States, primarily minority-owned. We take a lot of pride in helping people that come from our background, that are our peers, our age group, that are trying to get out and start a business, run a business, grow a business. So probably every major city in the U.S., like New York, L.A., Philly, Miami, Atlanta, DC. We've got clients out there that have grown with us over the years. So very honored to be amongst friends here too. Some longtime friends with Sarita and Joanna. So thank you guys so much.
Great to have you. Great to have you. All right, Joanna, let's get into it.
Yeah, before I get into a bunch of questions, because I always do this to Don when I invite him to places, because for me, I feel like Dom is the man. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why I say that is because Sarita, if I'm not able to make it, or I allow someone to have my seat, or I have the opportunity to do something like this tonight, where we're kind of doing a fire chat, a panel session, it has to share with everybody that Dom helped me put my structures together. O'Hara Developments, the bones of it didn't really exist like that until I became one of Dom's clients, and that's the reality of it. Before I make a move, He will get an email. If I can't get the email, he will get a text message like, oh, I'm thinking of this, or I have another opportunity to do this. Where does this fall, like, you know, on the umbrella? What business will this own, or what business owns this business? Because I don't really remember.
Yeah.
So, you know, and the reason why I'm sharing that is because when people sometimes jump out there and they want to have a business, they fail to look at the importance of their team and the consultants that makes it happen for them. I am not all things, you know. I'm good at a couple things and I make that work, but somebody else has a skill set that knows about, you know, taxes, that knows about business structure, that knows about branding, and we have to be very open to making sure that they're a part of our camp so we can operate accordingly. So, Dom, I know I always tell you this, but thank you. It took one time, and I'll share this with the public, it took one time for Dom to tell me, listen, the way that you created this, we're going to have to pay for an amendment. And if anybody knows me well, I don't like to have to pay for things unnecessarily. So I said, this will be the first and the last time I have to pay for any amendments. I am making sure that I call, check in before I sign my name and agree to any business deals going forward.
That was like, what, 2 years ago? Maybe 3?
Yeah. Like actually almost 3. We'll be 3 years old soon.
Well, here's to having great friends who do good business. That is a beautiful thing.
I'll toast to that.
Absolutely. But so let's get into the nitty gritty.
Right.
And where do you feel like, Joanna, is the best place to start? Because I really want to make sure, especially as we get ready for election season, a lot of us are starting to really think about what 2021 is going to look like. And for some, that may include a new business, or they may have launched it already or in the process of doing so. So we want to get them all the information that they need.
Absolutely. So one of the things that I like about Common Ground Management is that they provide great information on their Instagram page. And I mean, across the board, period. And I know Dom will leave all his information where you can follow his company. But one of the things that I really like, Dom, is that you do these business in 60 seconds. So I just wanted us to kind of fly through a few of them that you've done, and maybe in a little bit more than 60 seconds. But Sarita kind of started it off perfectly. You made a 60-second clip on August 1st is really the new year. Can you explain what that means? And for people that may have, you know, probably didn't know about the August 1st being the new year, what they can do right now to kind of get caught up.
Yes. How long can I go? Like you said, 60?
I mean, you know, I want to fly through. So.
Cool.
Let's do a minute 30.
Minute 30? I got you. Minute 30. So usually in corporate America, they have this thing called a 9/30, which is like September 30th. It's the last day of the third quarter. So it lets the corporations know, like, hey, we got too much money. Let's like funnel it in the fourth quarter to cut down our tax liability. Let's do this, let's do that. So our company was actually formed in November, but I left my job in August of 2012. And every year, just by like habit, we always did new things in August to set us up for January 1st. So like when we say August 1st is your new year, we want people to know, like, hey, you're leaving the summertime, you're past the halfway point, you're 7 months in, you got 5 months left to go in the year. And here, what have you learned? What are some things you want to implement? What are your goals for the new year? If you start to look at them in August, that gives you August and September to kind of get them together. And then you have all like the runway of the fourth quarter, October, November, December, to actually start the thing that you want to do in January. So by the time you get to January, it's already going, the momentum's already there. And you're not like trying to start from scratch January 1st, like that's a magical date to begin anything. So we always just try to preach, like, be proactive. Our communities really suffer a lot from living like minute to minute. And you see like other communities outpace us because they're always thinking about like years down the line. But some of that comes with having the luxury to do that. But if we start to think about our time frames and like, hey, what am I going to be doing 6 months from now? Let me just put that down on paper now. That'll allow us to actually achieve those goals. So August 1st is your new year, just a way to psychologically prepare yourself for how you want to wrap up the end of the year. You still got enough time to do it, but also what kind of momentum do you want going into January 1st? So your resolution isn't to start, but actually like, I got all 12 months to like get this thing where I want it to go, instead of just 9 because you wasted 3 months starting.
Got you. So make sure you're positioning yourself to be proactive and getting the ball
Exactly.
rolling. Got you.
Absolutely. Now, with it now being October 26th, what are some things some people can be doing to if they miss, like, you know, that August 1st timeline or date, I should say?
Yeah. So the beautiful thing about August 1st is it's a big margin of error. So if you're not August 1st, and you're not September 1st, and you're not October 1st, don't fret. Like, you have November, right? You have today. You have October 26th to be like, God damn it, let me write down some stuff tonight that I want to get done for November and December to prepare for like January. And so if you're trying to start a business and you're like, I'm gonna do it in 2021, no, start it now, invest in it in November, you know, send some teasers out in December, and then do a full launch in January. So you have all 12 months in 2021 to run it, as opposed to like, I'm gonna wait till January 1st, because everything you do is gonna take time.
Yeah.
Right.
You're gonna take time researching. You're gonna take time finding stuff. Every day that you just like wait to do it is time lost. So January 1st is important, only because we said it was. Now imagine if your November 1st was January. Now you're 14. You got a 14-month 2021 instead of just a 12-month 2021.
Gotcha.
Great. Thank you. So people that feel like, hey, you might have missed that time, like Dom just said, start now, and that way you could actually be in product mode or service mode come January 1st. Okay, next thing, you said brand identity is the invisible product. Share more on that.
Yeah, so a lot of people think that I gotta make the best sandwich. Like your mama could put a elbow all up in the mac and cheese. That mac and cheese, you're like, damn, I ain't never had no mac and cheese like this. Yeah, the mac and cheese is good, but it doesn't make a good business. So people go to Chick-fil-A not because they have the best chicken sandwich. Like, it's all right, but we can make a pretty good chicken sandwich at the house. They go to Chick-fil-A because their brand identity is actually what people are buying: the hospitality, the timeliness, the efficiency. Yeah, the food's good, but that's a prerequisite. Like, nobody would ever go to a restaurant that didn't have bad food. Even if the restaurant had the best service in the world, if the food wasn't good, it wouldn't matter. So you're supposed to have good food. You're supposed to be, if you're a cleaning company, you're supposed to clean really well. If you're a consulting firm, you're supposed to give out good information. Like, that's it. But what else do you do that's different from everybody else outside of the product wrapping? And that brand identity is what actually makes you, is what people are buying. Because they're like, you can choose from anybody to like do an LLC. It doesn't mean it's going to be done right, but you have the choice. So why would you choose Common Ground? Oh, because we do your business in 60 seconds. So we get like a lot of free advice. So we have free phone calls. So those things that we don't make money on actually turn the profit for us, as opposed to just like focusing on the transaction of like making the sandwich. Like, the sandwich has little to do with why Chick-fil-A's lines are wrapped around the corner. Their infrastructure is probably more to do with that than anything.
Got you.
That right there is golden.
There's something, and I want to make sure we think about folks who are really like just getting started with their business, or are finally running with that idea that for whatever reason, the pandemic, being home, maybe an increased need in additional income. So they're finally running with this idea. Can you speak to some of the basics that folks need to keep in mind when it comes to the bones of their business that they're looking to build?
Yeah, in the beginning and throughout, honestly, the thing to focus on is like, what aren't you good at? Like, what are you afraid of? Is like the regular you, what wouldn't you do? So you gotta like throw all that out the window and go to the furthest extent that you can to make sure like you succeed in the thing that you're trying to get off the ground. Don't worry about sales. Don't worry about like how people like you. You got to say, like, if you're a person that didn't wake up early in the morning when you had a 9 to 5, you got to make a new habit, because you got to extend your day. You got to have more opportunity. Anything that you were like uncomfortable with doing, you have to like find that first and answer those questions, because I get a lot of people that say like, well, I can't see myself standing on the corner handing out a flyer. Well, then maybe entrepreneurship isn't for you, right? If you start your sentence with, I can't see myself doing this to improve yourself or improve your business, you already have the wrong mentality. Like, if the mentality is, you're only going to do certain things on a negotiation with yourself. I'm talking about yourself. Like, if somebody asks you to do something absurd, don't do that. I'm just saying, like, what's the thing that you're not good at? What's the thing that you hate? Like, for me, believe it or not, I never, ever planned around money. Like, I never did before entrepreneurship. And I didn't spend it a lot, but I never thought about it, like, in terms of, like, oh, I got to put this away or do that. I was just had it, right? If I got a check, I had it. But what I had to learn how to do to get myself out of debt, or to get myself into situations where I could be a benefit to my company, was actually, like, sit down and be like, no, you're going to plan how you're going to spend this money cent for cent, and you're going to follow this budget. Mm-hmm. And I can tell you what I'm going to spend June 2021 right now, because it's in a spreadsheet. And that's helped me to save money and to be a better entrepreneur, from not only for myself but for the business. And that had nothing to do with Common Ground. Common Ground can make as much money as it wants. If I'm not responsible with how I spend my own money, I'm going to be draining the company, because I'm going to be like, oh, I need to make more money. So the thing I would say, as you're in the pandemic and you're looking to start something, you're the business. As the person, the business won't strive or thrive without you. So you have to figure out what your weaknesses are, what your vices are, what your tendencies are that are going to be detrimental to the growth of the business, and work on getting rid of those little by little. And those are very manageable goals if you choose to accept them.
Got you. So listen, we got to take a quick break. But Loves, the phone lines are open. And so if you have questions, especially our entrepreneurs out there, please make sure you call in and get your questions answered. Again, the phone number is 215-634-8065. Again, 215-634-8065. You can also call in toll free, 866-361-09. There we go. 866-361-0900. Again, 866-361-0900. We have Joanna Jane, our licensed financial professional, who joins us every Monday at 8 p.m. But we're also joined by Dominique Landry of Common Ground Management. It's a Philadelphia-based management firm dedicated to creating really an economic engine through its small business service offerings. So, and as well as their community initiatives, because they have quite a few of those. So, looking forward to continuing this conversation, looking at various aspects of the bones of business, right? Looking at infrastructure, keeping in mind, right, like you as an entrepreneur or as a founder, and being real with yourself about what you're not good at, what you're afraid of. One of the things Dom said was, like, find what you're uncomfortable with and like start asking the questions there, so that you can better understand yourself as well as your business. But we're going to continue this conversation. So stay right there. This is Save Space. I'm your host, Sincerely Sarita, and we will be back after these messages.
Hey, Mama, you calling me for a change? You and Daddy all right?
We're fine. Can't your mama call and check on her babies and get a little advice?
You know you can. What do you need help with?
Well, despite COVID-19, I'm not letting anything stop your father and I from voting this year. But we're here in Pennsylvania. Should we go to our precinct as usual? What's the best way?
You mean I get to be Mama for a minute? All you have to do is go to aarp.org/election 2020.
That's my favorite site, and they have a lot of information about the pandemic.
You only text me the website 3 times, but they have all the reliable, up-to-date voting information for voters 50 plus in every state. Want me to text it to you?
Girl, I know. It's aarp.org/election 2020.
Well, me being your mama didn't last long.
That's because I'll always be your mama.
Yes, ma'am.
Joe Biden fought hard to pass Obamacare. It gave over 20 million Americans access to health care and protected people with pre-existing conditions from greedy insurance companies. But Trump and Republicans want to get rid of it. Even in the middle of a pandemic, we can't let that happen. Protect your health care. Vote Biden. Our lives depend on it.
Paid for by AFSCME People, which is responsible for the content of this ad. AFSCMEPeople.org. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
Hello, my name is Hassan Bennett. I did 13 years in prison for a crime I didn't commit. Over-policing in our community has led to over 100 casualties like mine. It's time we, the people, take control of our future. And we do this on November 3rd by voting to make communities safer and the system fairer.
Paid for by Black Vote PA, which is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.theelectionisnow.com.
Hello?
Hey, you've been on my mind, so I'm just calling to check in.
Oh, we're holding up well here in Pennsylvania. Just trying to stay safe and figuring out if we should vote in person or by mail. We like going to the polls.
Yeah, you never miss an election.
And you know we're not missing this year either, and neither should you. But which way is the safest?
Well, remember that valuable information you got from AARP about COVID-19? Mom even had me read it.
Yeah, that was good info.
AARP has up-to-date voting information for 50-plus voters in every state. It's right there at aarp.org/election2020.
Oh, I got it. aarp.org/election2020. I love having the answers before your mama.
Pops, you know what happens when you try to show out.
Yeah, you probably right about that.
Hey guys, Tony Staten here, host of the Labor's Live radio show. And I have a question for all of the Labor's District Council union members and WURD listeners. Is your election checklist completed? Well, let's see. Is everyone of age in your household registered to vote? Is your mail-in ballot application completed? Have you confirmed your polling place for in-person voting? And do you know the names of the candidates running for office in your area? Well, if you've answered no to any of these questions, go to votespa.com for more information. And remember, exercise your right to vote. Your livelihood depends on it. Don't forget to tune into Labor's Live every Friday from 4 to 5 p.m. on WURD, WURD.
Save Space with Sincerely Sarita.
Sincerely Sarita.
Right now on WURD Radio. 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Independent Black Media.
We would be the best of all friends. It turned to be LOVE, and I was your man. So you was my lady friend. We spent time. I found a way to be by your side through the ins and outs, the wrongs and rights. After a while of being settled down, I didn't know how to keep the love, 'cause I was young. I wish I knew then what I know now. I wouldn't let you go. I swear I would have made this love grow. Spent a lot of time and a lot of dough trying to match what we had, and now I was hoping we could find a way. I was hoping we could find a way to have what we had again today. Have what we had again today. Though it's been some time since you and I. It wouldn't hurt to try to find our love. Wish that I would have known the treasures I found. I didn't know until you left. I loved your smile. Just the other day, your girl said that you can't stand me. I know you don't mean that, can't we? Just slow down a minute and talk it out. I've been through my share of love since then. Ooh, don't know about what you've been through, but nothing compares to what we had. All I know is I need you back, and I know that you need me back. Baby, let's try again to find our love. Oh, I was hoping we could find a way, yeah, baby, to have what we had again today. Though it's been some time since you and I.
You are back listening to Save Space on WURD Radio, 96.1 FM, 900 AM. Kayla J was trying to catch me singing. That's my song. I was hoping we could find a way. I tell you one thing, the Republicans found a way. to push through Amy Coney Barrett's confirmation that it looks like it is now official that they're securing the conservative court dominance for years to come. So just a quick update there. But we're going to switch gears back into the conversation that we are holding, Coins in Conversation, that is, to be exact, with Joanna Jane, our licensed financial professional, and Dominique Landry of Common Ground Management. So let's hop right back in. Joanna Jane, let's pick back up where we headed.
Samir, can you hear me?
Okay, yeah, we can hear you. All right, so we talked about August 1st being the new year, pretty much being proactive. We talked about brand identity. You said anybody can make your mama's mac and cheese, but why are they coming to you? Right? And you made a great analogy to your company, which is, yes, anybody can help you create your business structures, but it's the service that Common Ground Management provides why you continue to service so many people and your business has continued to grow. The other part that I wanted to touch on from one of your business and 60-second chats, which is something that a lot of people want to always figure out is, when they go full-time in their business, you made a video about, can your business afford you? Can you share more on that?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And we're actually having some internal conversations about that too, about where do we go from here with like new hires and things of that nature. So a lot of people think that getting into the business, they're already starting themselves at, I should be making like $80,000 a year or $70,000 a year or whatever number, because that's what I made in my job. They're really just throwing away the whole physics of that company started from some place, built up enough supply, built up enough demand where they needed to hire supply to support that demand. And that salary that you made or the wage that you were paid per hour was just maybe a modicum of what was coming into that company in that time frame. So when you got paid that salary at your job, it wasn't because you were worth $70,000. It was because the job could afford to pay you $70,000.
Right. Very different. Very different.
So people think that, I get to work for the city of Philadelphia. I made $70,000. That's what I'm worth. No, if your company just started, you gotta work for what the company can afford for you, because you gotta build that value. And so a lot of times people equate like quitting their job with being an entrepreneur. That's not the case. Keep that job. That's entrepreneurial to have that job that's gonna fund, because remember, the opportunity you created by making a brand name and selling, pecan pie or whatever, that's not the business. The business is you. If you homeless, you're not gonna be able to do the things that you want to do with your opportunity. So you got to think about yourself as the business and say, hey, what are my costs of goods sold? Like, how much does it cost for me to live in a house? How much does it cost for me to eat? How much does it cost for me to travel to and from where I gotta go? Phone. What are the most basic needs that you need? That's how much you're going to cost your opportunity. And if your opportunity can't afford to pay you that, then you need to stay in the space that they can while building your opportunity up so that it can afford to meet your basic needs. But then if you're in an opportunity like a business that you create and it is successful, that doesn't mean, okay, take all the resources out of the business either. It means, no, you still got to stay disciplined and say like, hey, if I need $3,000 a month to take care of me, that's what you're going to be locked in at until the business can get to a point where it can say, I can afford to pay you $5,000. You don't need the 5, you needed the 3, but I'm going to give you the 5 because we're making $20,000 a month, right? And you can afford to get that pay increase. So those are the things that entrepreneurs need to keep in mind. You didn't make this business to drain it. That's like you coming home with groceries to your kids and your family, and you eat all the groceries and you give your kids the crust around the Wonder Bread. No, you got to feed them first. They got to grow. And then you take what's left over, and as they become self-sufficient, now both you guys can cook and grow and move. So just thinking about not starting a business because you want to become rich, starting a business to solve a problem, and you don't want to be the biggest problem to your own solution.
Gotcha.
Wow.
That was a word.
That last sentence there.
I had to hit him with the
Felt that in my spirit.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, think about it. When businesses close, why do they close? They don't have any more cash.
Yeah.
Probably because the entrepreneur's lifestyle didn't fit that business. And again, like, your lifestyle is a business.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for sharing that, Dom. And before, because I know we're getting close to time, but one of the other things I wanted to make sure that we hit on, I'm sorry, let me just back it up a little bit. What you just said was so important, because sometimes people feel the pressure of those around them to quit their job, jump full time in your business. You got to give it everything. And I'm a firm believer that your business will tell you and show you in numbers that it needs more of your time, so you can be able to make the informed decision, whether that means you're shifting to part-time or per diem at your primary job, to then focus more on the business, or if you're at that point of, starting to bring somebody on to assist you while you still have that full-time job. I don't think that all the time it means that you jump 100%. And so thank you for clarifying that and making sure that your business can afford you and even afford to bring on, staff, whether that may be, contract or employees. The next thing I wanted to hit on, and this might be our last one unless Sarita lets us know as we get close to time, price versus value. As people are creating businesses, and this is where, that ticket number comes in again. And as you just stated, hey, they're coming in saying, I'm thinking about how much I made at my last job, and I'm expecting to get that in my own business. But it all goes down to the cost of the business. So can you break that down from one of your 60-second business tips when you were describing price versus value?
Yeah, so people think that if they offer something at a lower price, people will then buy it at a higher frequency. But that's not the case. They have to actually value the thing first to even consider the purchase. So if, I might DJ and say, hey, y'all can come to my event for free. Y'all don't care that I think that I can DJ. Now, if it was somebody that was famous and say, yo, it's a free event, or the ticket was $1,000, it doesn't matter. The demand is there to do that. So entrepreneurs shoot themselves in the foot a lot because they say, like, hey, let me offer my service at this, like, bargain basement price because people will value it enough to purchase it. There's a saying for that: I can't give it away for free. Because people don't value free. They don't value even a numerical number that you put on it. They value the thing that you present as the solution to their need. So again, the burger could be $1,000. If you provide enough value, somebody's going to buy it. And there's a whole book on that from Jonah Berger talking about a cheesesteak in Philadelphia that was $100, and people bought it. Why? Because the company made it so that you valued that experience enough.
And Dom, that also is so funny you bring that up because, and I think like this is clearly just synergy, Joanna, but I was reading this article today on Birkin bags, and I got to this whole article by way of Cardi B, who was on live and talking about this whole notion of women rappers, being able to buy Birkin bags, and there's more to the layers. But anywho, it sent me down a rabbit hole. And what I learned was, like, with the Birkin bag, for example, mind you, these bags are extremely expensive. Okay, we talking like double-digit thousands and up. I think the highest a bag has ever gone for, a Birkin bag has ever gone for, was $500,000. So $500,000, right? And they have, from my understanding, like never really had a sale. They have never compromised on the cost of their product. Each bag is handmade. Like, that value is intrinsic. And so folks literally will pay, and not everyone can get a bag. It definitely comes down to relationship, but they build value around it, and folks willingly give thousands, hundreds of thousands in some cases, to get one of these bags simply because of the value that they've established around it. So hearing you talk about that was like, yeah, no, it really does come down to value. They've never really had to do a sale or anything like that. If anything, it's folks fighting to be able to get a Birkin bag and be able to afford it.
Yeah, exactly. And it just goes back to the thing we talked about in the beginning of the segment, like that invisible product. So, like, Chick-fil-A can sell you a $10 chicken sandwich meal, and you're like, man, the meal is $10, but you just value, it's not even that you bought the sandwich, you just value that experience when you go to Chick-fil-A so much that you're willing to spend the 10 when you could have spent less money, at Wendy's, 99 cents.
Yeah.
Right? And got the same meal.
Right.
Not the same, but yeah. Each brand is different. It's okay.
The brand is different.
Brand identity.
There we go. Absolutely.
The value's in the bag.
But we got to get ready to let you all go. Of course, Joanna Jane, always a pleasure to have you, leading the segment. So, what do you want to make sure folks who have been tuned in that they really take away from, the conversation we've had today around, just the bones of business and being a better entrepreneur?
Well, I hope that people see that from tonight's conversation that it's more than just the face of the business, right? I shared in the very beginning that O'Hara Development Partners, and anything else that exists related doesn't happen without having a good team, and Dom's part of that team for me. So making sure that you are clear about who's in your camp, and also understanding that some of the points that Dom made tonight, being proactive, not waiting until January 1st to actually see your product making, income, or your business making income, but actually starting ahead of time and being clear about, the brand identity versus the your invisible product, which is really yourself, right? So being really clear about that, because sometimes we focus so much on the product, but we forget about ourselves. And, as Dom stated earlier, and your good really, example in terms of price versus value, don't limit yourself because of what you're thinking everybody else will only do because you're just starting. Like, if you know that you're providing a decent value and you also have the brand to support it, then go ahead and do what you need to do for your business. So I think that tonight, more than anything, I just want people to understand that these are steps, right? It's not going to happen all, overnight, but if you do bit by bit, it's possible. You don't have to quit your job tomorrow to make it happen. Making sure that you have people as consultants, as mentors, that can be able to pour into you and give you guidance is always great. Yeah. I'm not going to put Dom's business out there. I'm going to let him do that, but there's a plethora of services that Common Ground Management provides. So Dom, if you want to go ahead and just share what are some of the services or where they can find that information and how they can follow you, that'd be great.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. So real fast, if you guys want to look at a pyramid about value, just Google 30 elements of value, and you'll see this pyramid that shows you how consumers view the different elements of value when they purchase a product. And if your business has 3 of those elements, 4 of those elements, that shows you how much you can raise your price, or how valuable you are to your consumer base. So that's just one to chew on. 30 elements of value pyramid from Harvard Business Review. But yeah, our business does formations in every state. So nonprofits, LLCs, corporations. We also do trademarks, websites, and logo design. And then we just give away a lot of free information. If you call or email, we can answer any question for you. So we're just always here as a resource of information, which we can be reached at cgmphilly.com. If you go to our site, you can check out some of those services and get in contact with us.
All right. So there we have it. And of course, Joanna Jane, let folks know where they can find you at and follow you on social.
Yes, you can follow me on Instagram at The Real Joanna Jane, on Facebook, Joanna Jane. If you have any questions and you want to reach out to me directly, email our company, O'Hara Developments, at info@oharadev.com. That's info@oharadev.com.
All right, there you have it, loves, this week's edition of Coins and Conversation. Again, thank you to Joanna Jane and Dominique Landry of Common Ground Management. You're listening to Save Space. I'm your host, Sincerely Sarita. If you haven't already, head over to WURD Works, wordworks.com to check out our livelihood initiative, learn more about it, check out the latest updates on resources tied to jobs, entrepreneurship, the innovation economy here in Philly and more. This initiative, you really need to keep your eye on it because it's picking up steam, honey, and it's good. We're going in a great direction. So, again, that's WURD, W-U-R-D, wordworks.com. We'll be back after these messages.
Everyone has a different journey to their vote, but we all take the same steps. If you want to vote, register by October 19th. If you want to vote by mail, apply now and mail your ballot back as early as possible, before November 3rd. Or bring it to a satellite election office. If you want to vote in person, go to your polling location on November 3rd. However you want to vote, we'll help you find the way. Visit PhiladelphiaVotes.com.
At PICO, we know one thing is certain. Times have changed. From kitchen classrooms to couch conference calls, searching for a new job, or new ways to keep your family connected. These changes have become a part of our reality. That's why our teams are working 24/7 to meet the needs of our communities. So no matter how much things change, you can depend on PICO to be there with the energy and help you need to power through. Learn more at pico.com.
This is not a fad for us. We will not resume our regular programming when things die down. We're not black to help our bottom line or because it's politically correct. We're not joining a fight. This has been our fight, our message, our people. Black lives have always mattered here. We are undeniably, indefatigably, unapologetically, permanently Black Talk Media. WURD.
He's back.
This is Reverend Al Sharpton.
Keeping it real.
With the Reverend Al Sharpton.
In times like these, we have to stay connected.
At a brand new time.
Monday through Thursday, 9 p.m. till midnight.
I'm excited that Keeping It Real returns to WURD.
Keeping it real.
With the Reverend Al Sharpton.
Monday through Thursday, 9 p.m. till midnight.
This program is pre-recorded.
No phone calls, please.
Keep it locked to WURD 96.1 FM, 900 AM, WURDradio.com.
Save Space with Sincerely Sarita.
Sincerely Sarita.
Right now on WURD Radio. 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Independent Black Media.
No one makes me feel the way you do inside. And I don't know what I would do without you, and that's no lie. If I die, I'd hope to find you in another life, so we could fall again. Be the way we were when we first began. Like the first time that I ever saw you smile. I want that feeling again. Let's be the way we were when we first began. Yes, we've got something special. Let's hold on and don't let go. And I'll never find another like you, and this I know. If I die, I hope to find you in another life, so we could fall again and be the way we were when we first began. Like the first time that I ever saw you smile. I want that feeling again. Let's be the way we were when we first began. When we first began. When we first began. When we first began. again. If I die, I hope to find you in another life, so we could fall again. Let's be the way we were when we first began. The first time that I ever saw you smile, give me that feeling again. Let's be the way we were.
You are back listening to Safe Space. I'm your host, Sincerely Sarita. And today's show kicked off a tad different than what we've been doing in the past few weeks. So I wanted to make sure I circled back to let you know, like, what we do have going on in the world, because it is quite a bit, to say the least. You know, we have COVID-19 cases on the rise across the region. Pennsylvania is now averaging 1,769 new COVID-19 cases a day. And that marks the highest at any point during the pandemic. Is showing no signs of slowing. Over in Newark, New Jersey, there's a nightly curfew on most businesses that's set to begin tomorrow due to rising COVID-19 infections. And then worldwide, the COVID-19 pandemic is believed to have infected more than 43.3 million people and killed more than 1.1 million since late January. That is since late January. We have House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin, who were yet again unable to reach an agreement on a new COVID-19 stimulus, which now makes it highly unlikely for the legislation to be, as Bloomberg.com pointed out, written, voted on, and signed into law by Trump and by November 3rd. And so the pair, Pelosi and Mnuchin, serve as the primary negotiators on this new COVID-19 stimulus, and they have reportedly yet to resolve their differences on the language around national testing and tracing program for the coronavirus. And so that is as we continue to lose lives. We have the President of the United States of America stating at a rally on Monday held here in PA that vice presidential candidate Kamala Harris cannot be the first woman president. And quoting him directly, he stated, "She will not be the first woman president. You can't let that happen. You can't let that happen." And this style of attack was really a continuance from a rally in Florida last week, where he continuously referenced her gender, stating that the country doesn't need a socialist president, quote, especially a female socialist president. So we have the leader of the free world, or at least who's supposed to be the leader of the free world, making those kinds of statements and disseminating those kinds of sentiments into the fabric of our nation. We have a second juror who has spoken out about the Breonna Taylor grand jury trial. In a statement through Louisville's Glogauer Law Office, the juror said they can confirm that murder charges were not brought up for the grand jury to consider. Murder charges were not brought up for the grand jury to consider. That juror went on to share that the grand jury was only allowed to consider the 3 wanton endangerment charges against former officer Brett Hankinson, and that an opportunity to consider anything else was not permitted. Any other charges, it wasn't even on the table. So yeah, we have a lot going on, and that's, of course, as you all know, not even scratching the surface of so many other issues that we are living through in this moment, and that we to any varying degree have to process daily in addition to our lives. And even with that, right, even with all the tough stuff, we have folks who have stepped up to be poll workers and canvassers making a difference. I saw a piece on Philly.com where a woman shared that she didn't have a plan to vote, but she passed a canvasser, and when she did, she took it as a sign that she needed to vote, and she got in line in that moment and cast her vote. And I thought that was beautiful to know that, you know, someone who saw an opportunity to, maybe impact their community, to make a few bucks, being a canvasser, a voting canvasser, end up actually, doing what the job is intended to do, and that is to get people to vote. And so please know, when you choose to show up for our community in this way, whether it's being a poll worker or a canvasser, you really can and do make a difference. And shout out to Nick of Evening Words, because I caught a little bit of a guest who, the conversation with a guest who was on his show and speaking about the power and the importance of poll workers and canvassers and all of that good stuff. So from what I'm hearing, in many of these positions, you are compensated, so that does help, I'm sure. And yeah, like we have folks that are signing up and serving the community, showing up for the community in that way, and that definitely gives me hope as we actively battle voter suppression. And then we have hashtag Joy to the Polls. Joy to the Polls. It's a nonpartisan movement created to bring joy, exactly as it says, to the polls and make voting a celebration. There's a viral video of folks standing in line here in Philly at the polls and just like dancing their way forward or in place as they wait, and just really using dance as a way to combat voter suppression. And that's just a reminder that joy is a form of resistance too. And so shout out to the folks behind that who are really, doing what Philly does best, and that's bringing the arts, right, where we have the intersection of arts and activism. This is, I believe, tied to the work being done by Nalini Stamp, who's 32 years old, the Director of Strategy for the Work and Families Party and Campaign Director for Election Defenders, which is a nonpartisan coalition that's making sure voters are, staying safe and healthy outside of polling places across the country, and just bringing them some joy. So we got folks that are showing up in spite of. And if you are one of those folks, know that I am absolutely saving space in my heart for you this week, sending you much love and light and energy as you continue doing the work that you've been called to do. And if you haven't already taken a moment to really meditate on what you are saving space for this week, this is the perfect time to do that. But right now, I got to get ready to get out of here. So a very special thank you to our guest who made today's show possible, Dominique Landry, as well as Joanna Jane. If you haven't already, please make sure you follow WURD across all platforms, at onWURD on Facebook and at onWURD over on Instagram and YouTube. While you're at it, you can check me out on IG and Facebook as well. I'm at Sincerely Sarita. Kayla J over on IG is at KALAJ_music nerve. Much love and appreciation to her for holding down the phone lines, the board, and everything in between. Keep your dials locked to 96.1 FM and 900 AM. Up next is Keeping It Real with the Reverend Al Sharpton. We're right back here tomorrow, same time, same place, 7 to 9 p.m. for another edition of Safe Space with Sincerely Sarita. But until then, remember to taste your words before you feed them to someone else. And always, always, always empathize, empower, and evolve. Peace.
It stays with you, love taxes. It's a real trip. On nights like this, I ride. Turn the music up to keep from crying. Wait till the sunshine. Please don't let the darkness keep me low halfway to the home base, yeah. Like a field trip, whoa. It's a real trip. I'm asking who can save me? You can't, baby. You can't, baby. Who can save me? Know that you can't, baby. You could, baby.